Welcome to the New Mom Talk podcast, your go-to podcast for evidence-based answers to your burning questions about parenting. Join us as we dive into commonly Googled topics and hear from experts and real moms. Let's navigate parenthood together, one question at a time. Hi, everyone. So today we're going to talk about the importance of parent connection in early childhood. I think this is a very big topic, especially if you are a first-time mom, because I feel like we are just overloaded with information and all of the things that you need to do, like the black and white pictures, read to your child, talk to them, narrate everything. All of the things. So for today, we have Kelsey Cook, who's going to walk us through the importance and really give us some tips on what we need to do, should be doing, consider doing, all the above. So Kelsey, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Yes. I'm so excited to be on here. And you're so right. We're like so inundated with information that it's like, sometimes you're like, what are we supposed to be doing here as moms? I thought I knew, but now I don't. So I am a mom of four. I have 3 boys, 1 girl. My kids are 9, 6, 3, and then 1. So we're busy over here.
Wow, that's an understatement, busy.
Yes. And so I was a teacher. I taught kindergarten and 3rd grade. And after I had my first baby, I decided to stay home. And but I miss teaching so much because I love teaching. And so I opened a preschool out of my house and just taught 2 days a week, a couple hours, and it was so fun. I loved it. It was like the perfect balance of getting to be a mom that I wanted to be, but then also teaching. And then when COVID happened, I had to close my preschool. So I made packets for my preschoolers that were like the activities that we would do. And I would put them out on my porch and the moms would come get them. And then they started sharing them on Instagram. And so I was like, okay, more people are asking me, maybe I'll make an Instagram. So I made an Instagram. And then from there, it kind of just like snowballed into this business. And now we make boxes and we send them to every single state. And it comes with 20 activities that you can do with your child that are right on their level. Takes 10 to 15 minutes an activity and comes with everything that you need to do it. And it's just a great way for moms to learn with their kids, but also connect with them, which is most important.
Wow. I was a teacher too. I was a special ed
Oh, you
teacher,
were? Okay.
but I taught middle school and high school. And then once I had my son, I was like, I'm not going back. So
It's so hard.
yeah, it is. So we were fortunate enough to get one of your boxes. Thank you. We haven't,
Yes.
I looked at it and the activities look so cool, but I haven't started them because we have a baby coming in less than 3 weeks. And so I'm waiting until baby is here. That way we
Very
have
smart.
these like cool activities that, that will entertain him and help with
Mhm.
all of his like current skills. So yes, I'm
Yep.
excited to try your box.
I love that.
Trying to be savvy. I'm like, what can we do next month? Because I won't be very mobile.
Yes. And it's hard because you kind of, when you have your second baby, you feel like so guilty about your first, even though, they're great, they're doing great, but it's such an easy way to like, okay, I put 5 minutes in. Now I feel a little bit better about that.
Yeah, and my son he goes to school from 8 to 3, but he's a homebody. So after school, all he wants to do is go home. And I'm like, no, we need to go to Costco. And he goes, I just want to go home.
You're like, okay.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and dive into the parent connection. So,
Yeah.
first question, why is a strong parent-child connection so important during those early years when a child's developing?
Yeah. Well, I feel like when your child has a strong connection with you, it's so much easier for them to learn like emotional regulation skills, learn confidence, all of these things that we want our children to be. And if they feel a good, strong connection with you, it is so much easier for them to learn those skills and practice those skills.
I love that. I feel like my son and I always say he's my best friend, and I'm going to college with him, even though he tells me no.
You can.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to be roommates.
I love it.
Well, what are some like simple everyday ways that parents can intentionally build connection with their little ones without feeling like overwhelmed? Or there's this, again, the to-do list of like, did I show them the black and white pictures? Did I narrate every single thing
Yes.
that I'm doing? when they're
Yes.
developing their verbal skills.
Yes. Yeah, because you feel like there's like such a huge list of like things that we should be doing. But in all reality, I think that moms, we don't give ourselves enough credit. Like we know what to do with these babies. They're yours for a reason. And so I think following your instinct and doing the simple things like, oh, you love reading books, okay, read books. But if you love dancing or singing songs, do that. If you're making dinner and you love cooking, bring your child in. So I think that like including our kids in our lives and things that we love is going to make it so much easier on our side of the connection instead of being like, I'm checking a box. This is what I have to do. It's not as fun. But like if you're bringing them in, like I love reading books with my kids. I don't love building towers. So I'm always like, okay, I'll read 100 books and then you can go do independent play and build your tower. And then we can have a tea party. And just kind of finding the things that work for both of you is, I feel like, the most important thing.
I really love that you mentioned all of that because, again, there's like this list that we have to go through that some expert or non-expert posted on Google and we searched it and we found it. Now we have to do all of these things. But like, I include my son from the beginning. I included him in everything. So he is now 3. I would strap him in. I'd dance while we were cooking. And now he loves some of those songs that we used to dance to when he was an
Uh-huh.
infant. He helps me in the kitchen. I got him like a little Montessori like prep set so he's able to cut things like mushrooms or mix the dough. He was helping me with making English muffins last night or like simply taking him to grocery shopping and all of my appointments. He literally goes to all of my chiropractic appointments. He's gone to my dentist appointment so that it's more of like, this is just like our life.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to get a sitter or have somebody have to watch him because, I don't know, I need to go get my lashes done. Like, he can sit there
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
eat snacks because that's what he's gonna do at home anyway.
Uh-huh. Yes, 100%.
So, it's really neat that you mentioned that because I think that people, like, we have this assumption that, like, we can't take them to all of these things because they're boring
Mhm.
activities,
Mhm.
but
Yeah, and they can.
they can.
And it's honestly so good for them?
Yeah, it teaches them to just be patient, and also they have to do these eventually anyway, right? They have to go to the dentist when
Yeah.
they're kids, they've gotta go to the doctor,
Mhm.
like, why not expose them early on so it's not a scary space?
Yep, 100%.
How does connection differ from discipline or structure, and how can parents strike that right balance between really all 3? I don't love the word discipline because I feel like it tends to have, like, a negative connotation to
Mhm.
it, but it's also like we do have to manage behaviors.
Yeah, and I think I like to think of discipline more as teaching rather than like we're disciplining them, especially in these young years. The way that they're learning, the way that they're being taught is discipline. You're teaching them, okay, you can't put your hand on the stove, you're going to burn your hand. Like that's a teaching moment rather than like, no, you're not supposed to do this. This is not allowed. So, taking the moments where you're connecting with your kids before you correct them. I read that a long time ago. I can't remember which parenting book, but connection before correction. And that is something that I have really strived to do as a mom. And so, when I'm about to get angry or I see something that's happening that I need to stop, I try to like remind myself to connect before I correct. So, get on their level, look at them, talk to them, touch their arm, and then kind of explain to them maybe what they did, what you need them to do. And then like with structure, I do think that like a lot of times parents get like, okay, I don't want to have a certain schedule. I don't want to have to follow. I don't want to be so rigid, but like structure is so good for kids. And having something that they can expect is like such a great way to help with discipline and help stop behaviors before they happen. Like as a kindergarten and preschool teacher, the number one thing I do is set expectations before we do an activity. Like, I'm not just going to hand them scissors and say, okay, cut it out. I'm going to say, okay, I'm giving you scissors. Do you remember what scissors are for? What are they for? Paper. So, do we ever use them on our clothes? Do we use them on our hair? I'm setting this up before I give that to them so that they already are prepared. And so it kind of like eliminates 80% of the bad behaviors because they've already been talked to about it.
Hi, everyone. It's your host, Mariella. I wanted to thank you for listening and share some ways to show your continued support. You can rate and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Share the show with friends and family. Buy me a coffee to help with the financial costs of running a podcast. Follow me on Instagram at Mama Wears Athleisure. And finally, subscribe to my newsletter. Thank you for listening. Yeah, and you make such a valid point. Like, I just see this with my son. In the classroom, you always have an agenda, right? The kids know exactly what
Mhm.
to expect, when to expect it, or the order of whatever the day's going to look like. At home, I do the same thing with my son. I have a visual schedule, and I have found like on the weekends, because our schedule is not the same. At first, we were struggling, and then once we started to be consistent with the schedule on the weekends, and he could actually see, it was like all of that went away because he wanted to really negotiate what was going to happen next, right? Like, "Oh, we're gonna go to the park." "I don't wanna go to the park. I wanna do this. I wanna do that." Whereas if we had it on the visual schedule, there was no negotiating. He knew, "Oh, okay, this is what we're doing after breakfast." It
Mhm.
really does. There's something that it does to their little brains, and it helps them just
Yeah.
kind of like with that predictability and again, that structure.
Yeah, I think they just feel like more confident and safe because they know what's gonna happen. There's no surprises. And so, yeah, you're right. I had the same thing like on the weekends. I was like, why are the weekends so hard for me? Like, why are they so difficult? And then it's like, oh, there's not a schedule.
Yeah. So, next question. What role does parental stress or mental health play in forming secure connections with kids? Like, how does that, all of that, we're so stressed out, we're overwhelmed, we have a massive to do list, regardless of the number of babies that you have. If you're
Mhm.
a working mom or you're a stay at home mom, like, our list is always so long.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I think that it's so hard because it's like sometimes I'm like, it's not fair that my emotions affect the entire family. I'm like, I can't even be, you're a little cranky and then you're like, okay, the whole house is cranky. Like, I wish it didn't. But when I kind of realized that it did, that my emotional state, my feelings kind of dictate how our house is feeling, it kind of helped me to put myself first in taking care of my mental health, taking care of my stress levels. And so some things that I've done is implemented, like times that I know I'm going to have just for myself. Every morning I go to the gym with my sister. And so I'm like, okay, I get that time with my sister, which is like girl time, fun time, but then I'm also getting to work out. And I wanted to be like, that's not true. It doesn't Working out in the morning doesn't make your life better, but it like actually really does. So I'm like, that has helped me immensely to be able to be the mom that I want to be. Setting boundaries around like work time or school time. Like once my kids are home, my phone's put away, I'm doing the mom thing. And then I have a babysitter twice a week. So I know I'll get my stuff done then and I can be more present as a mom during my other time. So I think just like taking care of you and your needs is going to help your family so much.
So true. I feel like kids pick up on our energy, right? Like, however you're feeling, my son will randomly just ask me, like, "Are you okay, mom?" And it's just like the energy. It's so
Yeah.
wild how it's almost like that piece of them is stronger because they're still working on their verbal skills, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
And I don't have obviously evidence to support that, but that's just like my own thought where like you definitely see how like your energy does impact them and it's not always a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, can I just be mad for one day and not have it make everyone else mad?
And I really appreciate the fact that you mentioned the self-care piece because we forget that. Like, I feel like a lot of the times we think self-care means you need to set aside an hour to go to the spa or to go get your
Mhm.
hair done or to take a bath. Like, self-care, we can really just sprinkle in throughout the day with, like, I don't know,
Mhm.
5 minutes of sitting in a room by yourself or
Yeah.
5 minutes of an at-home mask or reading a book you like. Like, there's so many different
Mhm.
ways to just sprinkle that in if you can really carve out a few minutes. It'll just change your energy.
Yeah, and it's hard because as moms, we want to do everything for our kids. We want to keep our to-do list going, finish all of our stuff, and so it's easy to put yourself very last, but I think it just will make a huge difference if you can just remember like, okay, I need to be 100% before I can give to them.
Yes. Can you share some examples or stories that illustrate how parent connection positively impacts a child's emotional or social growth?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this, and like my daughter yesterday, we were at the park and she did not want to leave the park, as I'm sure you probably experienced. And she was having a meltdown, and I had my baby, and I was trying to like manage all the things. And then I just like set my baby in a stroller. I got down and I gave her a hug and I said, I know you're so sad. I know you love the park. And then it just immediately like changed her feelings. Like she was still sad. She was still wanting to stay at the park, but she kind of like looked at me instead of like screaming in anger and was just like, yeah, I am sad. I do love the park. And so it was a moment for us to just like have a second. I gave her a hug. She cried a little bit more. And then she was like, okay, we can come back tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, we can come back tomorrow. And then we left. And so I'm like, that little moment where we were able to connect and then deal with her emotions and regulate them was like such a big thing for me.
And, like, so much that goes into that little moment, like, teaching by being able to, like, call out what that emotion is and making her feel seen and understood and just like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, my mom is validating my feelings," instead of like, "It's time to go, get over it, get in the car."
Yeah.
Right? And
Which is so easy to do, because you're like, it's not a big deal. You've been here for an hour.
and you're so frustrated, right? But
Yes.
can you imagine? I always say this, it's like if we were at, like, a concert and all of a sudden the lights come on. You don't even
Yeah.
get, like, a warning of, like, "Okay, guys, this is the last song." It's just like the lights come on, "Alright, you gotta leave, bye." Like,
Yeah.
you don't have that time to transition. You gotta just
Uh-huh.
it's not any different for little ones, it's just that for them, it's the park, and for us, it's things that are much bigger.
Yeah, I love that example. I think that's so true. That like puts it into such perspective because you're like same thing when you're like if you're sad and your husband's like you're fine, not a big deal, you're fine. It's like no, I'm not, and it's kind of
Yeah,
the same with them. Like
don't
no, they're not.
gaslight me.
Yeah, they just want to be seen and heard just like we do. And so I think that's why parent connection is just so powerful because it isn't hard, it takes a few minutes and it can make a world of difference for them.
Yeah. Well, that's kinda what we want now, right? It's very different from the way
Yeah.
that we grew up, like, we are
Yeah.
wanting to have those, like, stronger connections with our kids, whereas I feel like our generation was more of, like, being disciplined constantly of, like, "You
Mhm.
can't do that because that's wrong," not really validating and explaining why things shouldn't be done, it's just,
Yeah,
"Because I said
exactly.
so."
So it is hard for us, it's like because your immediate reaction is to go to what you had, So it's like you have to kind of retrain your brain and then it's like, okay, I only have so much brain space. I'm trying to train myself, train them, but that's why I feel like the more you repeat it, the more chances you get to practice it, the better you get. And then at the same time, like my biggest tool as a mom is apologizing. I feel like that has been so powerful to me is to realize like I can always say sorry and I should. And so if a situation goes a way that I didn't want it to, I'll get down, I'll say, I'm sorry, mom, was mad when I shouldn't have been. I shouldn't have gotten upset with you. That was more something I had going on and it's not your fault. And so being able to repair situations like that, you are going to mess up. So just owning up to them and being able to talk to your child is going to help them because they're learning that skill as well.
Oh, so well said. So well said. I think that's like the perfect way to just lead into my last question. Do you have any
Yeah.
other tips, suggestions, or recommendations?
Yeah, I feel like my tip is give yourself grace. You don't need to be perfect and we're not going to be perfect, but repairing those relationships when they don't go the right way and just kind of being open to learning as you go. We're all being a mom for the first time. I'll tell my older son like I'm a mom to a 9-year-old for the first time. I know you're 9 for the first time, but I've never been a mom to a 9-year-old. So I'm learning. Talking with your child, being open with them, I think is just really going to make a huge difference for them too.
So well said. Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking your
Yes, of
time.
course.
I'm going to have all of your info linked in the show notes. So if anybody wants to reach out to you, they can do it through the show notes.
Perfect.
Thank you for listening. Tune in next week for our next episode. You can find us on Instagram for more updates and tips. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts and give us a review if you like us.